Yes, okay guys, so we're back up at the DJKIT showrooms up in Newbury, and I'm going to show you once again a brand new addition to the Pioneer DJ range. Today we've got the long awaited CDJ900 Nexus, so upgrade to the existing CDJ900, which has been on the market for quite a few years now, around about 4 years. So I've sat these two next to each other so we can actually see the differences in a moment between each unit. I'm going to also connect I have also connected the CDJ900 Nexus over into the CDJ2000 Nexus, which we've got on the other side of the DJ900 here. So one of the key things about this player now is we've got 4 years newer technology, and it's been completely brought up to speed to sit in conjunction with the Nexus range. So quite a number of features included in this that have come specifically from the CDJ2000 Nexus, as well as a couple of unique things that we like to put on each unit as well. So first things first, let's get some music running into it, and I'll take you through exactly what we've put on here. Now, I'm sure you've seen previous videos of myself and the Pioneer team talking about the Rekorbox software, which I've got up on the laptop up here. Now, I'm not actually using the laptop, I've just had that sat there, and I've run some music through my collection in the software program onto my external hard drive. So 500 gig hard drive with some of my tracks on there. So first things first, you're going to see I've got a USB port connection up here, same as the existing 900 model, but that is going to give me access to non-analyzed files as well as Rekorbox analyzed files as well. So now, a lot of these things that I'm going to talk you through, they're going to look and seem the same as the CDJ2000, the Nexus, but that's the whole point. This has been brought up to speed, so we've got a lot of features on here that weren't on the existing 900, but you will have seen on the Nexus already in the Nexus range. So if I just hit USB, straight away my settings data has been found, exactly the same as the 2000 Nexus now. When you get to a club, and when you see that the CDJ isn't set up the way you want it to be when you're DJing, there's no need to go into the utility menu up here on all 3 or 4 both CDJs. You can just hit menu, hit load, and bang, my settings have been loaded to the player, because I've created my CDJ settings inside the Rekorbox software already. So that's changed this to my tempo range to +6. It's turned my master tempo on. You can see straight away it's increased the brightness of the LCD screen. It's also you can change a number of different features in here. The beat sync can come on, and it just saves you a lot of time when you're in the booth, especially when performing on a few CDJs like we're doing at the moment. So, major beneficial thing on here now, the most visual update to the unit is the LCD color screen display, looking extremely similar to the 2000 Nexus, if you've ever seen one on there. Of course, now I'm going to compare the two against each other, the CDJ900 and the 900 Nexus, and I mean, you can tell the difference instantly. First of all, we've got a larger footprint here, so slightly larger physical unit, just to sit nicely, neatly with the Nexus range now. So they're all the same size, fitting into the same flight cases and same travel bags. They also, the major drawback to using the 900 that I personally found was, obviously when you're using Rekorbox, you're taking full advantage of the advanced navigation and the advanced browsing, the ability to browse through your tracks in playlist, color, bitrate, rating, 20 different options you can choose from. However, on the old 900, we've got a quite limited dot matrix display on here. So it's 4 lines of information, but again, if you load up a track, you're not seeing as much, nowhere near as much info as you were seeing on the more advanced model on the 2000. So as well, if you load up a track, we got a bit of garage music there, the waveform display you're seeing down here is extremely limited. It's more like the old 1000s, so to speak. The jump from a 900 and the old school 900 to a CDJ2000 or a 2000 Nexus was massive. You know, the difference in performance capabilities from here to over here was quite big. So we've kind of bridged the gap now, moving on to here. Yes, the first things people notice is there's a flat screen. This isn't tilted anymore, but it's much higher resolution and it's colour, and you've got the same size as the 2000 LCD screen, so it's a lot easier to see, and you can see this from any angle, which kind of negates having to have the tilted screen on there. It kind of differentiates between the two units as well. Now, although the screen is the same size, due to not having any printing or LED illumination on the 4 source select buttons down here and the additional menu controls at the top, we've had to include that on the screen. So slight encroachment on the visual there. So we've got the taglines in there: disk, USB, link, Rekorbox, as well as browse, tag list, info, and menu on the top. So yeah, that makes the screen slightly smaller, but still plenty of space and easy to navigate and easy to view on there. If you do want the full screen, then obviously that's a step up onto this unit over here, onto the 2000 Nexus. Let's jump in and load up some music. For anyone who's never seen Rekorbox analyze files on a player, if you've never seen any kind of Pioneer tutorials or any demo videos, then what you're seeing here is my search categories, and in here my playlists. So I've got my nighttime playlist here. Now all of these tracks are displaying the keys along the side column, and they're left in the order that I've created the playlist inside Rekorbox. So they're basically date added. All the new tracks will be down at the bottom. So if I scan right down to the bottom, I can see all my new tunes there. But one really nice feature that I use pretty much all the time is the sort function. So instead of viewing this list, which has, you know, over 100 tunes in it, so quite a few tracks, if you're trying to find a track, you can make it even easier to find by hitting the utility menu once and then choosing sort from here. Now that gives you, again, a number of different options you can have, you can include in here, which you set up in Rekorbox. Now, if I wanted to sort these tracks by key, straight away they're now all in key order. You can see the keys along the side here, making it easier to mix in key and keeping all the tracks so you can build up the keys and build up the energy. I'm going to actually choose sort by, let's go to date added, and all the new ones will actually come to the top then, making it a bit easier. I'm going to load up my first track. Because we're using Rekorbox, bang, we get instant load time of the waveform on here, very high resolution, and easily indicating what's going on with the track. The BPM of the track is already encoded to the file on the hard drive, so the hardware isn't actually determining that this track is 124 BPM. The CDJ already knows because it's on the hard drive. And obviously the major difference or major upgrade is this waveform. So large moving waveform. Let's actually run the track and we can see that scanning across. You know, this is turning the 900 into almost like a software platform. So it's like we're DJing on a piece of software, just like the full Nexus range now. So completely brought up to speed. We've got our beat counter across the top, and we've also got our bar countdown as well, which will count down how many bars it is to the next cue point. So I've actually got a cue point set at this drop. When the track gets to 64 bars away from that drop cue point, this will actually start to count down. So if I scan forward a bit, you can see, there we go, as soon as it reaches that point, bang, we're now 64 bars away from this drop, which this is a good example actually, because normally you'd be encouraged, or you'd be likely to cue your track on the other deck up at this point, this breakdown. You'd like to think that the track would drop either 32 bars from here or 64 bars from here, but you can see it doesn't. It actually drops 64 bars from here. So kind of an unusual phrasing of this tune. So that feature, being able to set cue points inside Rekorbox and see when the track's going to drop on the fly, is brilliant for tracks with maybe like a bit of obscure phrasing. You can actually set cue points on here as well. If I knew that I wanted to cue up my my track that was coming in every time at this point of the track, I can press Q, press memory, and bang, I've actually set another cue point there now. These 4 cue points you're actually seeing on this waveform I can scan through as well using the call buttons, which is really useful, especially if you wanted to mix from that point every time. You can load the track up and bang, jump to specific points. So once the track's running, we've got exclusive new feature. Let's jump on to beat divide over here. So the old 900 had auto looping technology down the side here. Now we've replaced that. We've put the auto looping technology on here, just like the 2000 Nexus, and replaced this with a kind of exclusive beat divide. It kind of gives you, when I use this as a performance tool, it creates like a staccato feel to the track. So let me turn it on and you'll hear it. That's the best way to describe it. So you can see different values here. We've got 3/4, 1/3, half, quarter, and 1/8 down here. So let's turn on triplet. You're hearing a stuttering. So nice little performance tool. This works really well with vocals as well. Of course, if you turn Quantize off on the hardware there, just like the 2000 Nexus, we've got a Quantize button on here now as well, which isn't illuminated by touch, but it literally turns on Quantize on and off here. That will interact with your beat divide as well. Like so. Of course, we've got slip mode, which was present on the old 900 also. Slip mode, if we turn that on, it allows the track to continue playing despite what you touch on the CDJ. So you can wheel up the track and it will still pick up from where it would have had you not touched the platter. And this kind of works with the beat divide now as well. You can see we've got slip loop highlighted as soon as we turn on slip mode. This interacts exactly the same way as slip loop on the CDJ2000 Nexus now. So the way you would use needle search on this CDJ to access different slip loop parameters, we can do the same on here. And you see it on the waveform. If I touch, say, quarter beat, it punches in a loop of a different value depending which button you touch. Now you can actually hear that my beat grid is slightly off on that track, meaning, you know, I haven't checked that in Rekorbox. Using the zoom/grid option up here, the same as the 2000 Nexus, I can hold down this rotary pot. Let's just stop the track for a minute. I'm going to zoom in on the waveform. I can actually manipulate my beat grid. If I hold this down, it changes from zoom to grid mode. You can see that chopping and changing between the two. And now I can actually assign my beat grids to be perfectly on. So, you know, like me, if you haven't had the time to check that beat grid, these little red and white dots you're seeing above the transient, on the software before you get to the gig, or before you shoot the demo video, you can do it on the fly, on the hardware. And that will mean all your looping, all your beat divide functionality, all your slip loop functionality will all be a lot tighter. Now that I've created that, shifted the beat grid to be correct, let's actually demo that and jump to a normal beat divide. You can hear straight away it's a lot tighter. Jump to slip loop and you can see then again, we know the next drop is coming in 28 bars now. So yeah, just nice little additional performance tool to have on the CDJ. In fact, it's very similar to the CDJ350. That wicked beat divide that was featured only on that CDJ is now on here. So yeah, really cool functionality there. Like I said, the auto looping has been brought onto here. So you've got the traditional in and out cues. So we can set an in point, in, out. Pretty standard looping functionality. That's a 4-beat loop. And you can also half and double the loop size using these call buttons here, half. So really straightforward. Or you can hold down the 4-beat auto loop. Bang. I've pressed that once, it's jumped to a 4-beat loop. If I exit the loop and hold it down, you can see if I zoom out, bang. If you hold it, it snaps to 8 beats. Which I can then half, put slip mode on. You know, if you really know your tracks and you know when the drops are coming and you've assigned these cue point markers so you can always see when the drops come in up on here, with slip mode you can create some really nice kind of loop cuts building towards drops, kind of allowing you to get really creative, especially when you've got 4 or 3 CDJs. Doing incorporating things like that into the mix can be really effective. It's kind of, again, remixing on the fly. Jumping over to this side, I'm going to show you these buttons here. You know, the massive debate that was raised when we first featured these on the CDJ2000. The thing is, it's beat sync buttons are kind of available on pretty much every single piece of software out on the market nowadays. You know, it's very hard to, in fact there is no software out there that doesn't incorporate some kind of beat syncing. So we're, you know, as we're turning this into a software experience, the idea of using Rekorbox is you can rock up with your USB device, or if you're on a CDJ2000, an SD card, you can plug in and get a full software experience on here, take all the benefits that come hand in hand with DJing from software directly from the hardware. So I think it's necessary that this is featured on there now. And what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to load a track up on this CDJ just to show you, and I'll load up a random track. Now, some of the tracks in my collection, I like to think I'm quite on top of my collection, but where I've recently got a new laptop, some of my tracks, the beat grids might not have been checked. So this is the full test really. I've just loaded up a random track over there. I'm going to jump back to a point on this track. I think we've used this in the last DJKIT video as it goes, this track. I'm going to punch in a loop using needle search. That track's continuously looping, running at, let's speed this, 120, 121. Hit run on this. Completely out of time, but this track is set to master. Let's press sync on this one and see how it sounds. Snap the beat grids together perfectly. Of course, and as well, if I slow the track down on the Nexus, you can see both tracks are slowing down, speeding up. Okay, so to wrap it up, the CDJ900 Nexus, this is going to be retailing down at the showroom, DJKIT, as of today. This is going to be in store. Obviously, if you don't know the date, that's first week of December. Differences from the discontinued CDJ900, it's quite clear to look at the upgrade, what you're actually seeing on here. Massive colour screen, full waveform display, including all the features we've just mentioned, beat divide functionality, sync controls, bringing this up to speed with the Nexus range. It's quite clear to me which unit I'd rather be playing on. This is going to retail at 100 quid more than the original CDJ900. So this was 1049. This is going to be retailing at 1149. So £350 below the price of the CDJ2000 Nexus. So differences between these two. I'm going to guess that this is going to be featured in a lot of bars and a lot of venues, as it is giving you quite a lot of the functionality of the full pro unit, the CDJ2000. But what you don't get on this, that you do get on this, which a lot of DJs specifically need, you know, I find myself missing these features when I've been using the 900. Obviously there's no hot cues, so hot cues quite a key function in my sets when I'm playing these days, so I need to have my hot cues. I also play off SD cards a lot of the time, so SD card support. I like to change the jog wheel tension on here. I always have that set to 2 o'clock when I'm playing, just to tighten up the jog wheel. I've seen some DJs with that right the way around on 12 o'clock. Scratch DJs like to make this lighter, so jog wheel tension. We've also got on-air mode, illumination of the jog wheel to indicate when the channel's up on the mixer. We've also got disc slot illumination on here. We've got a toggle switch to switch our reverse, whereas on the 900 we've only got a button. We've got 2 pots on here to adjust the vinyl speed adjust, so how quickly this starts and how quickly it stops, we can adjust that on here, whereas on the 900 Nexus we've only got 1 pot to adjust both. And lastly, one of the key things that I'm kind of finding essential when I'm playing is needle search. I use this to navigate through tracks, to find key points, to queue up my tracks. I also use this for my looping, so loop mode, jumping into different loop sizes using the needle search, as well as using slip loop. So features that we can access on the 900 Nexus, but they're accessed in a different way on here. So yeah, that's the reasoning for the difference in price. I mentioned earlier in the video the printing and the illumination on all these buttons as well to display the functionality, which also helps. But yeah, man, get yourselves down to the DJ KIT showroom and check this out for yourself.